Welcome to Community Partners Interview, where we explore the organizations, opportunities, and resources that look to make changes in our daily lives. I'm your host, Prateek Mohanty, and you're listening to Voices for Ability Radio, all abilities, all the time. Today, I'm joined by Jennifer Bartlett, who is the Executive Director for the Learning Disabilities Association of PEI. Learning Disabilities Association of PEI empowers people with learning disabilities to unlock their full potential and fosters inclusivity in the community to create equitable access to opportunities by providing academic and workplace supports. Thank you for joining us today, Jennifer.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Tell us a bit more about you and what inspired you to work at Learning Disabilities Association of PEI. Why work with individuals with disabilities?
Absolutely. I actually moved here just over a year ago in July from Calgary, Alberta. I'm originally from Niagara Falls, Ontario, but I have a background in education. So I was a teacher and then later a school administrator with the Calgary Board of Education. And so I do have a background in education. In terms of what was happening at the time in Alberta, and I think it's kind of still like that in terms of education there. There's so much complexity in the classroom, and class sizes were getting so big, and we were finding as well that there just wasn't a lot of support for students with learning disabilities. It took a very long time to get psychoeducational assessments, if ever. And so it's always been a passion of mine to advocate for kids with learning disabilities or kids that need to be tested. And when I moved to Prince Edward Island, this opportunity came forth to be the executive director of the Learning Disabilities Association. So it just helps to feed that passion that I've had for now over 25 years, having worked in education, and it's something that is very new to me, being on the island now and learning about their public school board and how things work here. And it'll take some time for the learning curve to learn everything, but I'm definitely feeling that fulfillment of working with the learning disability community.
That's great. So, are there any myths and misconceptions of the Learning Disabilities Association of PEI?
Yeah, we've been around for, actually, we just celebrated our 50th anniversary. So it was really grassroots back in 1975. I think it was a group of parents at the time who were getting frustrated with the school board and the lack of supports, and they wanted to bring awareness to learning disabilities on Prince Edward Island. And so they formed the Learning Disabilities Association, and we're still here today, which is a big testament for the organization to have to been around for 50 years. But certainly there's, when you think about when they first started in 1975 and sort of the lack of awareness around a lot of learning disabilities, and then, fast forward to 2026 now, and there still are people out there, and educators, even people who have backgrounds in bachelors of education and masters and so forth, who have some misconceptions around people with learning disabilities, in particular youth. And I certainly heard it when I was in schools, stereotypes about kids kind of faking it, or even being lazy, or that they are actually very capable but they're just not trying. And so a lot of those kind of misconceptions are still around today, and it's definitely from a lack of awareness and understanding of what learning disabilities are, and how they affect the person and the brain, and how they interact in regular day society and schools. So it's still something that we, 50 years later, we're still trying to, advocate and make people more aware and understanding, and have more empathy as well. And it's been an interesting pattern. I think we starting to see even more adults coming forward to say, I think I had a learning disability, I just never was tested. It was in that, something that happened back in, the 70s or 80s or 90s or early 2000s in schools, and they've lived their whole lives with something that they weren't quite able to put their finger on, and so there's a lot more people now, I think, with more awareness, but there are still a lot of stereotypes and still a lot of misconceptions.
Mm. So while doing my research, I saw that you have a couple of programs that you have to offer. Can you tell us a bit more about these programs?
Yeah, and we're definitely expanding our reach as well. So the Learning Disabilities Association here in Prince Edward Island was without an executive director for a little while, and so we went through some hard times. But now we're kind of amping up and really excited about what we're offering. So we've always been offering tutoring, and it's really high caliber tutoring. We work with tutors who are, many of them are retired teachers. They have a background in education. They might be aspiring to be teachers, and they are working with students at the Faculty of Education here in Prince Edward Island. And so all of our tutors have experience working with people with learning disabilities and have a background in education. We tutor of all ages, like I said, even into adulthood, of people that need stronger literacy skills, and we use a couple of programs. So we right now are using Barton, which is our literacy program, and teaching everybody how to read. And then we also use Jump Math to support numeracy skills. We have somebody on site who is an executive functioning expert. They have their certification in that, and so they tutor students in executive functioning as well. So tutoring is definitely a big part of what we do. We also have just recently partnered with ADHD PEI and the University of Prince Edward Island. And we are doing a workshop series over the next 3 years on executive functioning. And so those courses are for workshops are for people who are over the age of 18, who are caregivers, parents, educators, people who may have executive functioning deficits themselves. And we all come together every few months and do a workshop on a different topic around executive functioning, and try to teach people and kind of have them come away with a bigger toolkit to help support people with executive functioning deficits. So that's a big part of what we're doing right now. There's no research specific to Prince Edward Island when it comes to learning disabilities and executive functioning. So through these workshops, we're actually gathering some research data as well, and we'll be publishing through the University of PEI some specific to Prince Edward Island research for the very first time, which is really exciting to us. And then the last thing that we're starting back up again is we're doing a parent support group in a couple of areas of Prince Edward Island to help bring parents together, where they can learn more about what resources are out there on the island, but also support each other through, because sometimes it is a very difficult and challenging thing to have a child with a learning disability. And we want to support kids with learning disabilities in more of a social way as well. And so we are starting up a games club. So it's it's something very exciting. It's free, and kids can come and play board games, and those board games are actually help kids to build executive functioning skills without even realizing it. So it's something where you turn off your device, you're not on a computer or a cell phone, you come on in, play some board games, and it's actually a really cool thing, because it's amazing how many kids out there haven't really had that experience playing board games. Like the other week, for example, some of our kids played Monopoly for the first time, and there's a lot of executive functioning skills in Monopoly that you can build upon, especially around numeracy and task management and so forth. And they just loved it. And so getting back to the roots of playing board games and helping with executive functioning is just one of the social clubs that are started up here on the island. So we're branching out and trying to do a lot more than just the tutoring that we have been doing in the past few years.
That's great. Are there any restrictions to the programs at Learning Disabilities Association of PEI, such as age, caregivers, or family members only, things of that nature?
Well, we have a wide spectrum of kids who and adults who are being tutored. So, anywhere from kids in group homes and foster care to, there was somebody, for example, who called in, and his wife of many years had just passed away, and she was the person in the relationship who knew how to read, and he doesn't know how to read, and so he is coming in for tutoring now because he's on his own and he has to be able to do those things now. So a wide spectrum of ability and different backstories as well. With the tutoring, we do charge $45 an hour, and so sometimes that can be a barrier. But we do offer subsidies as well. So if someone can't afford tutoring, then we would look at their financial circumstances and support somebody regardless of that cost, and we would subsidize that. The parent support group and the games club, the social club, are free to people, so that's really great. The only other barrier that we have right now is we want to be island wide. So we have a space in Charlottetown, and we are excited to announce that we have just opened a space in Summerside as well. The island is small, but tip to tip, it's a few-hour drive, and we want to be able to help all kids on the island, regardless of where they're living. And so we have space in the two biggest cities in Prince Edward Island, but we definitely want to make sure that we're there for people regardless of where they live. So, for example, with the executive functioning workshops that we do at the university, we provide money towards babysitting costs, and we also provide mileage as well, so that people who need to drive a distance into Charlottetown to attend these sessions will be able to get compensated for that. And then we are also recording those conferences as well, so that we'll get them up on our website. So if people had a barrier to coming and being part of those series, then they'll be able to view it from the comfort of their home.
That's great. So, without using any names, can you share a success story with me? What supports were put into place when someone asked for help?
Sure, it's different for everyone, and so I mean, personalization of learning and support is really, really important. And so we're definitely still working on having perfecting our system. But somebody who comes in for support is very likely somebody that's been frustrated for a really long time, and it's been building up. So, for example, could be a family coming in with a child, and there's been at least a couple of years of struggle within the school system, and feelings of failure and lack of success, and the frustration has mounted to a point that they're looking outside of the school system for extra support. And so what we do is we meet with the families. Sometimes we'll connect with the school board and meet with teachers as well, and see what exactly has to be done. It really is. It takes a village to support our youth, and we want to wrap around them and make sure that they're getting everything they need. So even if we don't provide a certain service that they need, we have a lot of understanding around the resources on the island, so we can recommend other services. One of the hardest things is getting psychoeducational assessments. There's definitely not a lot of psychologists out there who can do them. We have a lot of newcomers coming to Prince Edward Island who are learning English as well, and that adds complexity when you have a learning disability and you're learning English. And it might be hard to get a psychoeducational assessment because you don't speak English, and the psychologist doesn't speak the language of your mother tongue. So there are a lot of different stories around people who come to us and get help, and we help. I would say the majority would be children and who are school age, but we also want to support people through all walks of life. So when they graduate high school, for example, that's another really big topic where transition is something that parents tend to want a lot of support with their children, whether they're transitioning from elementary to an intermediate level school, or from intermediate to senior high, or senior high into post-secondary or into the workforce. And so transition times are usually something that parents and youth will come in and want some extra support with. And then we help people in the workforce as well. It's important for employers to understand their employees and how to best support people in the workplace. So if you have, for example, an employee who has ADHD, how can that employee how can you support that employee to be the best that they can be at their job? And so sometimes it's supporting people in the workforce as well.
That's great. So are there any events coming up for Learning Disabilities Association of PEI?
Yeah, something that we're excited about is on March the 16th, we are offering a Red Cross babysitting course for students or for people that we tutor. As well as the community at large. So if you're 11 to 15 years old on Prince Edward Island and in the Charlottetown area, on March the 16th from 9:30 to 3:30, we're offering that course at a highly reduced rate. So it's $10 only for people who are tutoring with us, and $40 for the rest of the community. But we're looking at it through a lens of helping people with learning disabilities. So Red Cross courses can sometimes be a little cumbersome in terms of like a lot of words and booklets and lecturing and so forth. And so the facilitator understands kids with learning disabilities, and we're going to present it a different way in terms of babysitting course so they can get certified. The other thing that we're really looking forward to as well is at the end of March. End of March. Information will be coming out soon about that. We're showing a documentary at a movie theater, and the documentary is around dyslexia, but it's looking at the brain and how dyslexia is actually can be a really great thing. Like what are the gifts of having dyslexia? And so it's looking at that learning disability from a strength-based position. So stay tuned for that, and people can check our Facebook page and our website and get more information about some events.
Sure, thank you. What is the one thing you see happening over and over again to individuals with disabilities that shouldn't be, and how do we stop it?
I think it's around waiting so long. Like our society, we wait until someone's at their breaking point before a, the big supports come into place. And I saw that at schools as well. And I can speaking from the looking at triage and how we support kids. We want to support them in the classroom, like universal supports that we can offer every student in our classroom. And then if that's not working, if someone needs extra supports, then there are supports at schools like education assistants and people to help with literacy and so forth. And the child might get some pull-out support. But it's not until they really demonstrate a lot of frustration and lack of success before they get to that stage. And then beyond that, if you need to have somebody from outside of the school system come in to help support, there's often really long wait lists. And so children are left really struggling for a really long time and not getting that support. And then last but not least, like, so if all of those supports aren't really helping, or there needs to be something even more beyond the school system, like us, for example, or psychologists, counseling, that sort of thing. We're finding that this is years in the making. Like people are at their breaking point by the time they're coming to see us, or to see a counselor, or to see how they can support their child. And it's not through lack of trying. I think it's just lack of resources. And so it's really important to advocate for proper funding for education. With public education, there's so much more complexity, and and it's expensive to have wraparound supports and to have people with the skills and ability to help a child. But it's really is important for their future in the long run. You don't want kids to give up, and you don't want kids to end up with, acting out or lashing out or feeling so frustrated that they give up. And it's so much more difficult to bring a child back from that. And then if we just kind of are proactive, and as soon as we start to see, okay, this child is not getting it, a lesson, or not getting it, like, let's get in there right away and make sure. So it's more about, I think, the timing of things and just trying to be more proactive as a society rather than reactive.
Agree. Uh, so if someone wanted to become a member or volunteer with Learning Disabilities Association of PEI, what is the process for joining as a member or volunteer?
Absolutely. We have information on our website about that, and you can fill out a form on our website. But we also have an email address that's simply info@ldapei.ca. And that email address is something that we check every single day, several times a day. And so it really is the best way to get in touch with us. We're a small organization right now. There's myself. We have a tutoring coordinator named Cindy, and we have an office assistant named Amelia. But we're not always in the office because we're working with schools and so forth, or we're doing other things. So coming in person to the office, sometimes we're not always there. So the best way is to get in touch with us through info@ldapei.ca. We're always looking for people for tutoring. Like, there's definitely a wait list more often than not. And so if you have a background in education, we're looking for somebody like that. We do pay our tutors very well. And then in terms of volunteering with a lot of our programs, we need those volunteers to support us as well with the games club and that sort of thing. So there's always an opportunity for that. And then now that we have expanded into Summerside, we're definitely going to need some support in the Summerside area as well. So please keep that in mind, PEI community, that we're both in Charlottetown and in Summerside.
Perfect. And what is the one thing that everyone needs to know about Learning Disabilities Association of PEI?
We're a nonprofit, and we are somebody that will advocate for you and help our best. If we don't have an answer, we will certainly find it for you. We work closely with the school boards and their initiatives. So, for example, there's some new literacy training that's happening right now in areas like foundations for K-3, and will evolve as curriculum and literacy supports evolve in the public school boards as well. So we're all ages. So and no question is something that we would dismiss or ignore. So if you have any questions, we're here to support in any way. So we're more than just programs. We're people who want to help and make sure that people with learning disabilities are finding success and feeling that they have a sense of belonging on the island here.
That's great. So if listeners are looking for more information, how can they reach out to you?
Sure. So info@lda.ca. Sorry, info@ldapei.ca, and then our website. And stay tuned. Like, with our website, there's a little bit of a growth happening right now. So we are actually going to be making our website a lot more accessible and adding a lot to our website in the coming months. So please keep coming back. You can also like and follow us on Facebook as well. We put all of our events and so forth on there. Tickets to anything, like, so if you want to come to the University of Prince Edward Island and attend an executive functioning session, those tickets are on Eventbrite. So you can search for LDA PEI on Eventbrite and see what's going on and book a ticket. And those tickets are free. You don't need to pay anything for those kind of events. So there's lots of different ways to get in touch with us and find out what we're up to. But the best is through social media and our website.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you for lending us your time and attention. This was your host, Prateek Mohanty for V4A Radio. All abilities, all the time. Have a fantastic weekend ahead.